Okay, so we're looking at a new topic called matrices, and it starts off pretty easy, but we'll just walk our way through it. So matrices is basically an array of numbers. An array just means a collection of numbers that represents some sort of data that we've collected. And matrices are always rectangular or squares. Okay, so you can't have triangular matrices, they're always rectangular or squares. So copy that and come across when you're ready. Okay, so for instance, if I have 3 teams playing football, team 1 might have 6 wins, 3 losses. So W for wins, L for losses, D for draws. Okay, so the information for team A 633 could be written as now. Just make note, I've called this matrix A, it's not team A, so this is like matrix A. So I should have used a different letter, but this A does not represent team A, it just represents the matrix of all the information. And team B has 4, 2, 6, so I write down 4, 2, 6, and team C has 1, 5, 6, 1, 5, 6, okay? So I've changed the information that's, in this sort of form, and I've just put it into numbers, okay? Copy that, come across when you're ready. So matrices don't have to have headings representing the rows or the columns. Sometimes there's a word question and the columns and rows have meaning, but for the time being you don't have to worry about what the rows and columns represent. You have to know that matrices use capital letters to define the matrix, but then the numbers inside the matrix, which are called the elements, so the numbers inside the matrix are called the elements, and you use the lowercase letter. So if I've got capital A, then the numbers inside are little a. Okay. If I've got capital X, then they're little x. So you'll see that in some of the questions. So whatever the letter is of the matrix, the numbers inside use a lowercase. So copy that and come across when you're ready. Okay. So just to make sure. Okay. So rows go this way. So that's row 1, row 2, row 3. But columns go up and down. And again, you might think of the Egyptian, the Greek columns that hold up the Colosseums or in the Parthenon, things like that. So columns go up and rows go across. So that's one thing you need to know. So you can have many, many rows and many, many columns, like a spreadsheet. Okay, so copy that, come across. So looking at this matrix A, which is a completely new set of data. So I've got 2, 1, 5, 6, 0, minus 2. We use subscripts. So this number 2, okay, so the number 2 is in the first row and the first column position. So this number 2 is in the first row and the first column, and so it's the element is lowercase a because the matrix was capital A, and then we just put the 2 numbers first row, first column. And again, some textbooks may not use a comma in between. So if they've just got A11, you just have to assume that the first number is the row and the second number is the column, but there may be a comma in between. Just looking at the second example, 5. Okay, that number 5 is in the first row, but it's in the third column. First row, third column. So we use first row, third column, or A13. Okay, it just depends on the textbook. Some don't use commas and some do. So the important thing is we use lowercase and we use subscripts. So subscript just means the number goes down the bottom, okay, instead of the superscript like the number on the top. Okay, so copy that and come across. So in identifying a position of an element, the rows come first and the columns come second. It's rows, then columns, okay? You've got to know that, otherwise you'll identify the completely wrong thing. Rows, then columns. Okay, copy and come across. And that's the end of the first page. So at this stage there's probably no exercises to worry about, but I'll let you know. Otherwise we'll see you on the next slide, on the next video. Bye.